Hello, everyone. Good morning, or good whatever time it is, wherever you are. Here now, it is Thursday morning, and I hope you're having a pretty good morning so far. We're going to try to make it a little bit better. If you are watching this on replay, we're going to get started at about 3.5 minutes in, so feel free to skip to there. And in the meantime, we're going to let everyone come in who wants to come in and join the room. Today, I'm going to be talking about persuasion fails. When people try to do some type of persuasion and it backfires. we've had a lot of that recently, just recently. Oh yeah, sorry about yesterday. I had another audio snafu, and I think I think I got it working now. So I'm gonna check Twitter. If you guys see something go screwy, just send me a message and I'll try to correct it sooner rather than later. So anyway, I hope you're having a pretty good day. My day is going pretty well so far too, and things seem to be going kind of crazy lately in the world, and so I'm here to help drive you sane. There's so many things driving you insane. I'm going to drive you sane today. I'm going to drive you sane, or at least more sane. That's a good thing, right? I think that's a good thing. To be sane is better than to be insane. So, yeah. Twitter has been really cool lately, too. Lots and lots of really interesting things happening. And I think there's all these people in Twitter. I should call it X, but sometimes when you just say X, it's too ambiguous. People don't know what you're talking about. But there's all these things going on. And I think there's a lot of people who aren't on X that have no idea what's going on. They have no visibility into some of these things. That's really weird. That's really weird. But I also know that X does filter in, things start in on X, and they filter their way through other social media platforms. There's been some Facebook stuff that I've seen started on X and things like that. So, good morning, Colin. Hey, thanks for the donation. Yeah, I'm doing this for the long haul. I'm going to keep going, so that really helps. I can, I got. It's not like super expensive to do this, but I got like 4 or 5 subscriptions to make all this work. I mean, to make it all happen, it's like pretty obnoxious, right? Because you spend like a couple $100 a month just on all these things to get this moving. So no, I appreciate it. So it's about 3.5 minutes in, so let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Daily Upgrade with Jason Andrews. My name is Jason Andrews, and I'm a hypnotist, which is pretty cool because that means I know how to help change things on the inside to make things better. And if you're here, that means you probably like it when things get better. You like it when you get better. You like it when those around you get better. And that's what I'm here for too. And today I want to talk about when persuasion fails. And while I talk about it, I will be doing some work under the hood, rewiring your brain in real time. So if you're watching this, you've probably already had some things going on today. So the first thing we're going to do is take a deep breath in, hold it for a moment, and then let it all go. All right, ready? Hold it. And now just let it all go. Good. And the next thing we're going to do is gather up all those extraneous thoughts, all the places where your mind has been up to this point, and we're just going to gather them all up and bring your focus in here so you can focus. Now, today I want to talk about persuasion fails. the times when somebody tries to persuade in a certain way and it backfires. And we've had a bunch of this lately because of the Super Bowl, right? Super Bowl. Companies spend like what, $5 million for 15 seconds. Like, it just boggles my mind a little bit because there's so much attention on it. And so this is the prime opportunity for people to, for companies at least, to get their message out, to get their message out. And what we've seen is sometimes it really works. There's things that really change people's minds, and exactly the way the people who created the marketing wanted it to change. And then there's also others that backfire badly. And I'm going to talk about some of the backfires. The first one is simply the use. What was the guy's name? Bad Bunny for the halftime show. So this guy was a very he was everything the woke left loves. Not white, not straight, doesn't speak English. He's Puerto Rican, not, I mean, I guess that's American, but not like in this, like it's not like he was born on the mainland. There's a difference there. It's a small one, but there is a difference there. Did this performance in Spanish, uh, pretty degenerate from what I didn't actually watch that show, but from what I've the what people have told me, it was a fairly degenerate show, and that seems they were doubling down on wokeness. They're like, okay, well, we're losing this fight. We're going to double down on this to fight back. That's my um, projection of what they were thinking, and I'm not sure that that worked. In fact, I think it backfired. I think it didn't work. I think it may have worked for some people, but I think it didn't work for a lot of people. And I'll tell you why. Because there was a second halftime show that got double the projected views. It was a YouTube stream. It wasn't even on any of the major networks or anything like that. The only way you could find it was on YouTube. And it had like 20 million views. And on top of that, the number of viewers on the Super Bowl, if you watch the number of viewers, the graph was like this. It was really high. And then right at halftime, it dipped about 10%, came back at the end of halftime. Okay. That means that there is at least a 10% of people who are actively opposed to that message. Huge persuasion fail. Also, the alternative, the Kid Rock halftime show made a ton of money for YouTube and the sponsors that were over there, and that's competition, right? I mean, if the people who had planned the Super Bowl went with somebody moderate, that everybody could have said, okay, I'll watch this person, right? It would not have triggered this backlash, and yet they did it, and it triggered the backlash. So there's another, let me talk about some more. There was a commercial by a company called Ring, and these guys do the doorbells and the front door cameras. And they're like, oh yeah, our stuff is great. Get a Ring camera and doorbell. By the way, we do facial recognition, and we we can tell if it's a dog or we can tell if it's a person. And people were at first were like, oh cool, and then they were like, wait a minute. Are you telling me that you're recording me and everyone I associate with and sending that to your servers for facial recognition? I mean, what could go wrong? What could go wrong? Completely stupid, right? Completely stupid. Now, it could have been that they were trying to launder that idea publicly, that they already were doing it and they wanted to introduce it as a feature instead of something people would get upset about. If that's the case, then they probably did minimize the damage. But if they were just talking about how great it is that, our doorbell camera does facial recognition all the time, stupid. I'm going to talk about another one. You guys know, so I'll quickly, Bud Light, we all know about that one. Bud Light, the manly beer, they picked a transgender person to be their spokesperson. Oh, the stupidity of that. I can't even believe it. The stupidity of that. Completely destroying their brand. I still think they haven't recovered. And then another one was the Jaguar. Jaguar, the cars. They had this completely fruitcakey, looked like a bunch of aliens in their commercial. Multicolored weirdos in their commercial. And everybody saw the commercial and were just like, WTF. Yeah, I don't think I'll be buying a Jaguar. And so their sales went off a cliff, which is kind of ironic because I looked at the actual car, the actual Jaguar car, and it was pretty cool. I thought the car itself was pretty cool, but that commercial was just completely stupid. And then the last one I want to talk about is, do you know who Amelia is? Amelia is a purple-haired English girl, and she came into existence when the UK government decided to create this sort of game, right? This game for kids to play and have like role-playing choices about right-wing extremism. And Amelia was one of the characters in it who would essentially say right-wing things, right? So you're in class and your classmate Amelia asks you not to sit next to the migrant kid. What do you do? All right. Now you can see where this is going. Okay. All the kids were like, oh, I'm going to sit next to Amelia. I'm not going to sit. Right. And they totally. So Amelia became a mascot for the right. She became a figurehead for the right instead of the left-wing government. And why does this matter? Well, now, if you look at X or anything like that, you will see videos of Amelia. They're doing all these AI videos of Amelia. I saw this one where there's a scene in Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, where Aragorn, the king, they're about to go into Mordor and fight this giant war and battle. And all the soldiers are nervous and scared because they're like, yeah, we're just going to go in and get killed. And Aragorn comes up and he's talking about there may be a day where, our strength fails and we do this, but this is not that day. And it's a very rallying scene. It's a great scene. Well, somebody remade that with all the armies being the Welsh, Scottish, Irish, and English. And Aragorn got replaced by purple-haired Amelia. And Amelia is out there, talking about, we will someday, there may be a day where we lose our heritage in our country, but this is not that day. Complete opposite of the original intention. Complete opposite of the original intention. So these are some of the big examples lately of persuasion fails. Now, the question is, why? Why did they fail? How did they fail? Right. And it boils down to two or three key points about what made the persuasion backfire. Number one is a fundamental misunderstanding of the target audience. Jaguar completely screwed it up. They thought people who wanted to buy their cars were going to be on board with the kind of fruitcakey, alien world that they were presenting instead of normal, standard, traditional, natural, let's do what has worked for thousands of years people. They completely got that wrong. Okay. The Amelia thing failed because they misunderstood how strongly their opposition felt. They assumed that the people they wanted to persuade were open to the ideas, and they started on step 4. They needed to start back at step 1. Right? Complete misunderstanding of either what their target audience wants or what their target or where their target audience is. Two huge mistakes. There's another one too, and it goes something like, if you're going to persuade, the best way to persuade is to do that without triggering resistance. Okay. Now, this is one of the things that I love about hypnosis-based work, is that I can talk to you, I can talk to somebody, and I can weave my words in a way that there's no resistance, even if it's something that needs to make somebody change. Right? Somebody really likes to smoke, but they don't want to smoke. I can make it so that they don't want to smoke, even though there's part of them that really does. I can bypass that resistance, right? That is critical to effective persuasion. If you don't do that, they just fight harder, because somebody whose beliefs are threatened, a person experiences that as if they themselves, their existence, their identity is being physically threatened. You threaten somebody's belief system, they will biologically respond as if you pulled a sword on them, you pulled a gun on them, you pulled a knife on them. They will physically respond in that way because that's how their mind interprets that. So you need to do it in a way where they don't recognize that. They don't recognize that their beliefs are being dismantled or shifted, that things are changing. It happens under the hood, behind the scenes, bypassing the resistance. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. If you've taken my hypnosis training, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, I'm going to have another one this probably early summer, maybe midsummer. Yeah, somewhere in there. So look for that on X. I'll be talking about that. So now that you know how to avoid persuasion fails, you know not to just go up to somebody who thinks something different from you and just say, hey, you're wrong. This is what's the right way to do it. No, that triggers resistance. You know how to pace the person. Oh, yes, I understand that that's your experience. I understand that you feel threatened by this and this and this. I understand that you think, that guy's a bad guy. Pace. You understand their experience. And then you begin to reframe things and maybe use language in a specialized way to bypass their conscious resistance. That's how you get results. That's how you do it. Not this hit people over the head with a sledgehammer, metaphorically speaking, until they just submit. They don't do that. People die on the hill of their beliefs most of the time. So you know how to avoid those. You know how to avoid those problems. So thank you for being here with me today. If you found this useful or interesting, feel free to share this with others. And you may want to check out my coaching site, jasonandrews.coach, where you can find new ways to improve your relationships and career and emotional states. So I hope you have a great rest of your day. And tomorrow morning is Feel Good Fridays. So be sure to join me there. And yeah, thanks everyone. I'll talk to you tomorrow.